This is the Dick and Conversation podcast. I'm Elissa. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. If you are listening to me, you're probably listening to me on Amazon, iHeart, Pandora, Spotify, which now you can actually see me on Spotify. Or you also, sorry, can see me on YouTube. My socials are Instagram, Dick and Conversation underscore podcast. My Facebook page is Dick and Conversation Podcast Dick and Conversation Podcast Facebook. My YouTube channel is Dick and Conversation Podcast. Like, subscribe, share. And my Blue Sky is dickandconvo.bsky.social. And finally, my email is dickandconvo@gmail.com. I have a guest here. And if you know, watch my last episode where I explained about what happened with the name. I mentioned three names. Well, I mentioned a bunch of names. But when it came to speaking about coaches, I mentioned two names specifically. I said my cousin Jelani and Coach Kevin Marshall, but I have my cousin Wheat because this is so overdue. This is so overdue.
Very, very.
So overdue. So I would like to introduce my cousin and Coach J Mac. We are going to discuss a plethora of things. I know Danye loves that word. It's something every day, yay podcast. Hey Danye. It's a plethora of things, but one of the things I wanted to talk about is one of the things that I mentioned in my last episode about establishing boundaries when you are a coach. So, welcome, Coach J Mac. Hey,
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on, and especially because we kind of doing this last minute. I think everybody don't know, but we are doing this last minute. But I wanted to make sure that I make sure that I captured this moment because you have been extremely busy. You have been busy. I know you have your own podcast and you're currently in hiatus right now. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Hopefully next year I'm able to have more time and be more focused to bring it back because there's so many things that I do want to talk about. But for now, we're going to talk about this topic and I'm excited about it. I am really excited about it.
I am too because I know well it's a hot topic right now. It's not as hot as it was last week, but it's a hot topic about what happened with the head coach in the University of Michigan,
Hmm.
who recently lost his position as a result of several things. One being his extramarital affair with a staffer, who actually retained her position, which I just say hasn't been confirmed, but I think she retained her position. Um, and I know you have been a coach. You coached for many, many years. And what I wanted to know, particularly from a male coach,
Hmm.
particularly a black male coach, not necessarily a black male coach, when you are in a position of authority, how do you establish that boundary? And you coach females at a particular point. So, how do you establish that boundary and solidify it with not just the players, but also with parents who may be coming, being that support system for their child? They're encountering the coach and they're still may trying to cross a particular line into your area. So how do you kind of like stop that?
So I'll give you some backstory. When I started coaching women's basketball college in 2007.
Oh,
So yeah. So in 2007, of course, times were a lot different than coaching is now.
there was no social media.
So, I started at Clark Atlanta University and, my CAU Panthers, I love them. And um first I'll get into this. Recruiting a young lady, I first tried to establish that relationship with the parents
Hmm.
and make the parents feel safe that their child is coming to me because once their child is on campus, now they're under my leadership or parental guidance at that point because now I become the parent in
Hmm.
a sense.
Hmm.
But where so many people get caught up and so many people fail at is that they will they will use that power not necessarily against the player, But sometimes they'll say, and here's where I go. Sometimes a coach will say, well, look, I can get you more playing time if you do X, Y, and Z. And the kid just wants to play. So they feel like pressured that they have to do that. And that right there is where immediately things start going, it goes wrong. So for me, how I establish boundaries is one, like I said, I get it. I talk to the parents, let them know, I want their kid to come to my school. This is how, we run things. This is how we do things. Once the kid is on campus, I'm like big brother.
Mhm.
I try to be big brother, not necessarily their parent, but big brother. If I need to give advice, I give advice, but also I'm never alone with players very often. If it happens, I try to keep an office door open. That's
Mm.
number one. I always try to keep an office door open. If we're on the road, we're at a hotel room, my hotel room door is open.
Mhm.
Because sometimes, if and I'll give this kind of a feedback for people who have never coached or never been on that level. When you're traveling and it's game day or it's you're going on the road, it's usually your head coach, you, and maybe another assistant, right?
Mhm.
And you're going to the hotel. So you're checking in, you're giving everybody their keys. Normally, as coaches, we're on the same assistant coaches, we're on the same floor with the kids.
Mhm.
Our head coach is usually on a different floor. Head
Okay.
coach is like, look, I'm gonna be away from the kids because I need quiet, I need to lock in. It's our job to make sure they're in their rooms on time, that they get their food, meals, whatever they need to get. Sometimes we have the uniforms in, we don't leave them on the bus. We'll bring them in so they'll get warm if we're going
Warm.
to a cold climate. So they have to come to our rooms to get their uniforms. That right there can lead to something if
Mhm.
one player is lagging behind, they come to your room late to get their stuff. You already didn't shut it down for the night, but you got to open the door.
Right.
So what happens? That door closes.
Are there
Nobody
guard
know.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But see, no, then and nobody would know if something happened because it's y'all in the room. But to avoid that, everybody has to come at the same time. And
Mhm.
can't nobody lag behind. That door is propped open. You might even tell the other coach, hey, coach, I need you to come down. So when the girls coming in to get there, you have to put those barriers up there. If not, you will fall into the trap.
That's what I
I
was
promise you.
wondering. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I was wondering. Are there guardrails in place? Like, are there female staffers that are there that are required to be in place when there's uniform pickup or when there's counseling that has to take place, coaching that's not that's off the court.
Most women's basketball, most times
Mhm.
if there's a male head coach, you can't have like two male assistants. It has to
Okay.
be a female.
Okay.
If there's a woman head coach, she can have two male assistants, but that wouldn't be smart because if you got two male assistants and they're just dealing with the males, you have to always be around.
Right.
Or you have to have a female trainer around or female manager of the team around. Like a female should always be in place with that male so that these situations don't happen. Because I'm telling you, it happens so quickly. Sometimes, and don't get me wrong, as male coaches, we can be naive.
Mhm.
We can be naive, and here's where I'll go with that. We know these beautiful young ladies that we recruit. They come on campus. They wearing little shorts to work out in. They wearing the little and they wear their sports bras. They're not wearing shirts over their sports bras. Sometimes they're practicing. That's what they're practicing in.
Mhm.
Men, we looking at bodies and we like, oh man, she's beautiful.
Mhm.
Sometimes they know the weak spots because they're around you all the time.
Mhm.
So just like you get to know them, they get to
Get
know
to know
you.
you. Mhm.
When you're sad, they know. When your energy's not there, they know. And they're gonna quiz you. Hey, what's going on? You okay, coach? Everything all right? And then if you are that kind of coach who's weak or vulnerable, you may confide in with the players because you like, well, it's just my player. She not gonna say nothing to nobody. Wrong. She may first of all, she may tell the other players what's going on. If not, if she does keep it secret, Now that's a chip that she got like, oh,
Mhm.
well, let me do this for coach. Well, I'm gonna make coach feel better. I'm gonna do this.
Mhm.
And if you're going through something, you can fall into that trap of, oh man, she did this for me. That's nice. Or it could start off as a simple, at the beginning of practice, she's coming to give you a hug. Hey, coach.
Right.
And it ain't no church hug. It's a, I'm going to hug you around the neck hug. And
Mhm.
you ain't thinking nothing of it. You like, oh, this my player. She ain't looking at it like that. She's
And
looking at it like, go
and
ahead.
yeah, and that's what I was wondering. Depending on who crosses the line, because I also posed this question to someone else. He's not a coach, but he's in a leadership position in his company. So I asked him, I said, how do you establish a boundary with your female subordinates who need to talk to you? You're in a position of authority. They need to come talk to you about whatever it is at work. How do you establish that boundary and solidify it? Like, how do you make sure that that boundary stays solid? Now, what he told me just it blew my mind, and I had to admit, like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. He said you really have to. He said the same thing. One, you leave that door open. You leave the door
Mm-hmm.
open anytime they have to come into his office. His door is open, so he has a true open door policy. But he
Mm-hmm.
also says he have to be very, very careful because if they are flirting with verbal kind of little verbal flirting, you have to give pushback, but not pushback so hard that in a point they could turn it and say, I wasn't flirting with you. You must have been thinking that about me. So is that on your
Mm-hmm.
mind? And now you're still in a bad position. So he said, it's
Absolutely.
really a fine line that you have to walk where you have to establish a boundary saying, I'm not interested, but not to the point where you now offended your female subordinate or female player or any other female who is in a position that is under your power where it can become now offensive, or if it was taken out of context, like I was not that was not my intent, that's not what my approach was, but that must be your approach on your mind towards me. So
Yeah. And it in as a coach, as a manager, whatever your position is, anytime that you're dealing with someone of the opposite sex, you literally have to have those boundaries in place. You can't you can't use certain trigger words
mm,
because I can all right, here's an example. I can easily say, "Oh, she comes in, she has a nice outfit on. Oh man, you look good today. I like your outfit." That comment right there
yeah,
just takes
yeah,
a whole ship of its own and
yeah,
sails somewhere that you're like, wait, I didn't really mean it like that. I was just saying you look nice.
yeah.
But you just have to be careful with every little thing that you do and say. And then when you're dealing with young adults, their language is different from our language.
Totally.
And so when you're talking to them and you're trying to talk to them in their language and be, trying to cool. So because one, you want to establish that relationship with them where they can confide in you to tell you things.
Safe space. Mhm.
And when I provide that safe space for them, I also have to understand now they're giving me this personal information.
Right.
I can't throw it back on them.
Right. Mhm.
You have to treat it like a marriage in a sense
Mm,
where that trust, that once you break it, it is hard to get it back with players.
mhm.
And so if you cross that line with the player, now she's so vulnerable. Every time she be around you, she's not gonna know how to act.
Mhm.
She's gonna she's gonna go tell the one of the other players, whether
Mhm.
whichever one she's closest to, that's the one she's gonna tell.
Mhm.
You can forget it not coming out. It's going to come out, and it's going to come out always at the worst time. Never at a good time,
Right.
the worst. Because just say, for instance, you're winning. You are, you're having a winning season. Everything's good. That player's
Mhm.
getting the playing time they want. They're happy. But you just say you start talking to another player or you're
Mm,
spending more time with that other player. The player that you were messing around with is going to get jealous
mhm.
because now you spending too much time with them. So now, oh, you must be doing the same thing to them that you did to me. Boom.
Right.
That ship is everything's gonna blow up.
Right, because when I look at the Moore situation, and we'll talk about other ones also, not just with Moore, because I don't want to just make it seem like he is an outlier because he's not. It has happened with others. But when I look at and I read that their relationship or whatever it is when they call their engagement had been occurring for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there had to have been others on the staff, possibly players, possibly in the athletic department, her friends who knew because in reading the report and what happened on online when she's talking when he's at her apartment, she's on the phone with her lawyer saying he's here, he's here. So there was a knowledge of the the
Affair.
extramarital affair, yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
affair that had been going on. In order for her to just even say he's here, that was common knowledge. So when you're saying they're going to tell, there it is known. It is very, very known. What I do want to talk about too, also I'm going on this one. Um December 12th, I think was the day he went to court, possibly a 10th, 12th, whatever day. But what was not in the headlines as much was the coach for the University of Ohio, not a University of Ohio, Ohio University, Brian Smith, who was also fired for having an extramarital affair with a student, an undergrad student. And that did not grab the headlines as much as Michigan. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan is a huge football college, big alumni. They
Right.
just won a national championship. I get it. He took over after Harbaugh's riddled with scandal, but it didn't capture as much. Now, one obvious difference is Brian Smith was Caucasian, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously Sharon Moore is not. Do you think, in looking at both of those situations, um, Michigan and Ohio University, that race played a factor in how it was handled and publicized differently?
Not in those situations because one school is a lot bigger and the other one is very small.
It was a lot.
It's a low to mid major, so yeah, it's not gonna get as big a headlines. So if you weren't paying attention, you don't follow women's basketball. I think it was back in maybe 2013, 14. Well, probably like 2014. Pat Summit's
I
son,
remember that.
Tyler
Cute.
Summit,
Mhm.
slept with a player,
Mhm.
got her pregnant also.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think he ended up getting a divorce from his wife because of all of that.
Mm.
Usually with basketball, sometimes you're not even allowed to get another job once you do that. It's hard for you to find another job because once people get whiffed of, oh, you slept with a student,
Mhm.
a student athlete, there's no now trust. It's hard to get that trust
Mhm.
back from
Mhm.
anybody, and nobody wants to hire somebody who is sleeping with students.
Students.
They don't
Students.
want that. Nobody wants that headline because if you're at a primetime score, or as we say a power four school,
Mhm.
Big Ten, SEC, so if you're at one of those schools and it happens, that and especially with women's sports,
Right.
it is hard for you to get another job.
Right.
A lot of years have to pass by, and literally people would have to forget that you even did that in order for you to be able to come back. Because all right, you do it, you get
Mhm.
fired, you wait 5 years and you try to go get another job, and somebody, because usually there's a headline or there's something that goes out to say, we hired coach ABC to our staff.
Right.
If somebody knows about it, or let me research coach ABC since they just hired him. Wait a minute, he had a scandal. Every parent now will know that because they're gonna email blast, social media blast. Oh, why would y'all hire somebody like this? This person did this again. We don't want them around our families or our kids. Now they're gonna have to get rid of you as soon as they hired you, because that headline is gonna get out so fast. So it's best to be careful. Be very, very careful.
Do you think
Um,
there is a difference in whether the person was a staffer, like in Michigan, like in with the Boston Celtics with Udoka, versus it being a student, like what happened in Ohio University? Do you think that may be the difference, where they're staffer or student?
wow, that's tough to say because as if it's another employee and you have like you talking to that employee every single day, or that employee is in close relation with that coach, they got to get rid of you
Yeah.
because and again, you're a person of power and they're
Mhm,
reporting to you.
mhm,
Yeah, we have to let you go. And then even when it's a student athlete, now if it's your student athlete, it makes more of a difference than if it's just a student on campus.
mhm.
They still
Okay.
gonna let you go, but it may not be as big of a wave. Especially if it was just y'all had sex, it was an affair. Okay, they're
Mhm,
gonna get rid of you. They're gonna try to sweep it under the rug. It's when it becomes rape and you had an affair. Now it's now that's double.
mhm,
So now you're looked at even worse. But you try to, as a coach, you try really, really hard to make sure you keep those boundaries in place. You try to make sure that everybody knows what's going on, like your head coach. And I'll share a short story. When I first started coaching at Clark Atlanta, my first year, a student tried to holler at me. I was on campus, had my backpack around on. I, had my hat on like I do now. I'm walking on campus. She thought I was a student.
Okay, I was about to ask that question.
She thought I was a student.
Okay,
And
okay.
so she like, what's up, coach? Well, actually, she said, what's up? Like, and I'm like, well, I coach the women's basketball team. She was like, for real? Well, I need to maybe come to some practices so I can see you in action. And I'm like, yeah, I can't holler at you. Like, I'm gonna get fired if I do. And she wasn't trying to hear none of what I was saying, not a word, because she like, well, I ain't no player, so it don't matter.
Mm,
It still matters.
mm.
And the reason why it matters because again,
You're in a
you
position of
have,
authority.
and although they don't report to you, you're not in direct contact with them every day, anything.
Mhm.
You have
Position
sex
of
with
authority.
them, they tell somebody
Mhm.
who's in authority, now they're gonna come looking for you. And or she tell her parent. See, that's the thing where people don't they tell their parents sometimes information like, "Ooh, I had sex with the coach." And the parent like, "What coach?" Now they're writing letters to the president, they're writing letters to the athletic director, and the headline is never gonna say Coach J. Well,
Mm.
I'm sorry, it won't say Jelani McCaskey did this. It's gonna
Say
say
coach,
Coach J. McCaskey from Clark Atlanta University.
coach.
So now you put the university at shame, you put yourself at shame, your family, and you're down the hill.
I'm glad you spoke on that, because that now explains the reason why a lot of these coaches are dismissed for that. It's not necessarily the extramarital affair, it is, but it's the conduct. And that is often a clause in their contract, because it is so, it's such grounds for litigation. Which
Yeah,
a lot of times now people say, oh, they tried, I'm not saying, but some people have said, whoa, it's the clause. They're trying to get them. They get them with the clause. Now that you've explained that, it makes sense why that clause is in contracts. And in the situation with Mel Tucker from Michigan State, go green, go white, but still, still
right.
love, But that explains now why these inappropriate conduct clauses are in coaches' contracts. And once they violate that clause, they're fired. There is no retribution. There is no redemption. It is just zero tolerance. You have to go, because it is the position of authority. It is, you're dealing with an underage, sometimes underage, and even if they're not underage, they're still an immature individual or a student, or just someone that is in a vulnerable position versus someone who's hired by the university and given power to make
Hi,
decisions and things like that.
see, so when you're dealing with high school, it's a little bit different than when you're dealing with college.
Right.
Although they're young adults still in high school, they're
Very much
they're
so.
they're still minors.
Yes.
So in college, because that's all I've dealt with. I did do a stint in high school, but that was very short lived. So college, and I'll go back to that later. Um, college, you'll get some students that come in and transfer from a junior college. So at that time, they may be 20, 21.
Mhm.
Some of them even 22 years old, depending on what happened in life.
Right. Right.
So they're already, I'm grown. They can go out to a club, they can drink, they can do all the things that I do as an adult. They feel like I am an adult. So when they
But
come to you, oh,
yeah.
I'm 22, I'm grown. Oh, I ain't no minor. My parents can't tell me what to do. This is
But
consensual. I can do
mm,
what I want. If you buy into that, which again, coaches can be naive, they'll buy into it. You buy into that, and then again, the age of social media. What are
mhm.
they doing? They're sending you pics. They're sending because
Is it naivete or is it just lack of discipline
all of
and
that, all of that lack of
lack
discipline.
of discipline overcome by lust and just feeling that you will never get caught and because that you have such a power in the a position in the university that you know how to outsmart the system.
And you're really not outsmarting the system.
I know.
You're just
That's because they always get caught.
you know it, at some point, and it may not happen. You may not get caught this time, but the next time you could, or the next time after that you could. You're
Mhm.
always rolling the dice.
Mhm.
And as coaches, you have to understand you can't keep rolling that dice, man. You're gonna
And
crap out
crap
one of
out.
these times. One of these times you're going to crap out. Um, you know, all my players had nicknames for me no matter where I was because I coached
Mhm.
at three universities, one D1, two D2s.
Okay.
I was big brother at Clark Atlanta. I was always big brother to most of the players. When I went to southeastern Louisiana, when I was there, they used to call me Daddy J.
Okay.
And the reason why they called me Daddy J because they said I treated them like they were my daughters. All of them.
Sure.
They'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, Daddy J ain't gonna approve of that. Daddy J
Right.
gonna be on us." But I always treated them with respect. I treated them like they were my kids. I made sure that I protected them from things because that's the way that I was taught. I was
Right.
mentored before I started coaching women's basketball. My
Mm.
mentor sat me down and told me the do's and don'ts of coaching. So
Yeah.
how, this is what you need to avoid. This is how
Yeah.
you avoid these type of situations. A situation, happened where at one of my schools, a player did try to, holler
Mhm.
at me, and she was of age. I had to go and now tell the coach what was going on, my head coach, what was going on. My head coach at that time, she said, "Okay, how do you want me to address it?" She said, "I can address it with that player and we can have a meeting." And I was like, "No, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's the right way to handle it." I said, "Can we make this a general thing where we talk to all of the athletes at the same time?" And that's what we did. We talked to all the
Right.
athletes about dating. And, and even then, you couldn't say, boyfriend.
Mhm.
You had to say boyfriend or girlfriend
Right.
because you start generalizing that all the girls like guys.
Right.
Now
Right.
that's a whole nother controversy that you have to
Right.
deal with. So, we addressed it as, hey, when you're out here dating, be careful.
Right.
Don't do this. Don't, and we generalized our whole statement and everybody was cool with what we said and how we said it.
Okay.
That particular time, I made sure I was never alone with,
Right. That
any
individual.
player,
Right.
that player or
Or
any
any
other
of 'em.
individual.
Right.
So what I would do if a player said, "Hey, coach, I need to talk to you," I would say, "Okay, let's talk after practice." Or if it was after practice, "Okay, give me like 10 minutes to come to my office." I would either go tell a manager,
Mhm.
another coach,
Mhm.
either another player, "Hey, can you
There's
come to
some
my office?"
transparency. Mhm. And
Yeah, and
witnessing.
they would come and they'd be like, "Well, what's going on, coach?" I was like, "I just need you to sit in here while this other player comes in here." And then when the other player come in, I'll say, "Hey, do you mind if this person sits in this meeting
Right.
just so it doesn't look like I'm in here alone with you or if anything inappropriate is happening. And they would say, if they say, well, no, coach, I don't feel comfortable. Okay, well, I'm sorry, I can't have this conversation by ourselves, or I'm gonna have to keep the door open. You got to be, okay
Right.
with one of the two.
Right.
And so they would tell me, okay, no problem,
Okay.
and to the door being open.
Okay. Do players have a code of conduct where it pertains to crossing a boundary or inappropriate relationship with a staff or someone of authority that they have to abide by and have to adhere to
Not
while
really,
they are? Oh,
not really. And I say because the burden of proof is always on you.
yeah, because you're the adult, right? You're the one in a position of authority. You're the one
So
that has the power. I get
if
that.
you
Yeah.
accuse them of something and you don't have proof, it kind of looks like now you got something against that player.
Mm,
Although the player could be coming at you in that way, you are the person of authority. So you have to make sure, or figure out the way to, I don't want to say catch them, because that you
mhm.
don't you try not to put, again, you're trying to put yourself in a situation, but it does happen. But no, players don't really have that necessarily thing where
They
they
don't have
can
a
be,
clause.
no, where
They
you're
don't
gonna
have the
take their
Bill Tucker
scholarship if
clause, right.
they don't have a thing if they sleeping with a coach or a staffer. No, they don't. What do they have? All you
Right,
gonna do is take away their scholarship,
right,
but they can still go to another school, get another scholarship, and do the same thing somewhere else if that's
right,
what they want to do. But
right,
no, they don't. It doesn't look bad on them. It always looks bad on the person in authority every
right.
time. Um, I've seen players that will sleep with a staffer and then say, "Oh no, that was on me. He didn't want to do it. I forced him to do it." And I'm like, "Well, you can't force anybody to do anything." But in
Mhm.
their brain, they were like, "Oh yeah, I kept pushing until he just gave in."
And that points out to the difference in the maturity level when you're looking at someone who is, even if they're 22, 23 and below, more often than not, a coach was probably at least, at the very least, a decade older than them. Maybe, could be, could not be, but they're older. So there should be that higher level of thinking, critical thinking, logic, and discipline and self-control, even if they approached multiple times to cross that boundary. And that's what I was asking. Like, how do you how do you solidify that boundary? How do you just say, look, this is not going to happen? You have to not cross this line. Or even like I say, in looking at the co-workers, not even just a student, even
Yes,
with a co-worker, how do you, as a man in the position of authority, how do you establish that boundary saying this is not acceptable without pushing to where it now becomes offensive?
it
That's
can
that
be
thing just keep blowing my mind. Like, how do you
it
do
can be
that?
you and another coach,
Yeah.
and both of you all are the same age, y'all consenting adults. That's frowned upon. You're not
Yes.
supposed to be sleeping with another
I
coach,
say you
and
don't
and
don't
but
swim in
that's
the
the
company
thing.
pool.
And that's the thing. So, we have senior women administrators, we
Yes.
have sports information directors, I mean, there are a plethora there in college of women. Women may be in power over
Yes.
you,
Yes. Yes.
but you mess around and cross that line, now again, you can be fired.
Yes.
And sometimes it's y'all have a mutual relationship, but the president finds out and gets a whiff of it. The president like, oh no, we don't do that. Y'all in the same department. So it's now either we're gonna have to separate y'all gonna have to be in different departments, or I'm gonna have to let one of y'all go.
Right. Right.
It is that is a tough line. And because when I read the Sharon Moore headlines and oh, you ruined my life. No, you ruined
You
your
run
life.
your life.
She didn't do it. You
Right.
did this. You don't, and that was the thing. The rumor was everybody has known about this for a long time, including administration. And so that means you've been publicly just out here
Right.
being reckless.
Right.
You were reckless. And
Right.
so, yes, now your job is called upon, and then you go to her apartment, which made it even worse. And again, like the Mel Tuckers, they did it. There's
And the
so
thing about his situation that's so bothersome, besides it being from Michigan State, go green, go away. Um, the staffer was brought on because of a situation such as this. So that's what she was an expert in this. And for him to now basically put it into real time with the expert who's to work with athletes on things like that. So, dude, what were you thinking? What were you thinking?
I want some, I want to smash. I mean, and I
That's what he
mean,
was thinking. That's what he
literally,
was thinking.
every job someone is on, you're gonna see someone attractive. It just
Yes,
the law of attraction is
it is.
there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you have the discipline enough to say,
Mhm.
I can't do this because I work here and this is my coworker? Do
I
you
used
have?
to say that. Yes.
Most people don't have that because,
Mhm.
okay, where do you mostly start relationships? Either somebody you work with or an organization or something that you're in with
Mhm.
some. It's where are you
Proximity.
spending most of your time?
Right.
At work.
Right.
So who do I see?
Right.
You.
I used to be
And
a
we're
corporate
always
trainer and
around each
say that.
other.
Yes, I used to say that on the very I was a corporate trainer for years for a company. I won't say which company.
Hmm.
Large company. And the very first day of training, I would always tell them, do not date your coworkers. I've seen this movie. Everyone dies at the end. Please do not. I don't care if they're in a different department because it is like you say, you're around each other a lot. And I would give the whole scenario of you're around each other, you sit next to each other because it was a call center. I'm training them for a call center, and the first thing you're next to this person all day, 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, and sometimes if you're working overtime, you're with them more than you're with your family. And it starts off something simple. You come in, it's like, hey, how's you all right? You good? Nah, just having a little problem with my guy, or with having a problem with my wife, or problem with my husband. What's going on? They telling you blah blah blah. Oh, I don't know why that happened. You guys seen, you're a good guy, you're a good girl. I don't know why this, that, and the other. And
Hmm.
you're unloading. And as you begin to talk to that coworker, you're bonding. Like, oh, he's so good, he's so sweet. That's my work husband, work wives. That stuff gets started. And then it can lead to where, oh, everybody's going for drinks after work. You going? Well, I'll go if you go. I'll go if you go. And then you go across to where you got the salsa and the margaritas and the liquor get the flowing and you get a little more relaxed
Yep.
and the
Hmm.
coworkers and that,
The truth
you
comes
get to
out.
connect and you get to connect and oh, everybody's going home. You need a ride home. I'll drop you off. You want to ride with me to the place and that's how it starts. But at the end, everybody dies because when it goes bad, it goes bad. It goes bad for everybody, not just
It
for those
does.
two involved, but for the whole department. And I would say that because I witnessed it because two coworkers were dating each other, and we knew. I mean, everyone knew. And then at a certain point, the coworker would come in and say, "Good morning, everybody." Everybody say good morning. And then one morning they came in and said, "Good morning, everybody." And the person that they were dating said, "What the fuck ever? How do you go back to work when this has happened?" Because now the work environment is, you can't ignore that. So
You
I would
cannot.
tell them, please, please do not date your coworker. Please don't lay your meat where you lay your bread. Make your sandwich. Do
Exactly.
not
So
don't do it.
so I knew a coach who told their players that they could not date each other. Like, hey, they put
Right.
it in writing. You
Good.
can't
Yeah.
date each other.
Yes. Guardrail. Mm-hmm.
Coach got fired.
Oh,
You can't tell them that they can't date that they can't date a teammate. Can't do that.
really?
A- No, we can't tell them that. We can't tell them who they can and cannot date.
I got
I
yeah.
know why we don't want them to do it because if when it goes bad, it disrupts the team.
Absolutely.
Because now I'm the point guard. I'm dating my shooting guard. Well, guess what? We on bad terms. Oh, you ain't getting this ball. Don't even think about it. When you on the court, don't look for this pass from me. I can see you wide open, and guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna throw this ball to the other side of the court. I don't care if I turn it over. I ain't giving it to you. So then now the shooting guard like, oh, so you ain't giving me the ball today. Okay, well, I ain't setting you no screen then. I ain't doing it. And so now this becomes a thing.
Toxic environment.
They're not talking to each other. So guess what? Now the team is divided because one person is on this person's side, the other person is on this person's side. So now you got, as a coach, you have to deal with those things. It's funny that and it's not a bad thing, but we are in a position where we can't tell them certain things and we can't put certain things in writing, all because we have to protect the university by telling them that they can't date a teammate
I get it.
is
Yeah.
is the same as telling them you can't date somebody of the same sex.
Yeah. I get it.
You just can't do it. You just have to tell them, we encourage you to not do so, but if you do, please be careful. If the relationship starts to deteriorate, you know still try to be friends. Like, you have to give them all the good things. You can't tell them any of the bad stuff. And
Yeah.
so it messes up everything. And it's the same thing in corporate America. You date your coworker and y'all on the same team. When it go bad,
Ooh.
everybody gonna know that it's
Yeah, like, what
bad.
the F ever? What the F ever?
Everybody knows that it's
Yeah.
bad. And see, I have so many examples of things. And I told you I wanted to go back to the high school thing. So I volunteered at a high school. Okay.
Okay.
This was probably around 2005, like 2005. And it was like, I don't want to say my first coaching like thing that I was doing, because I had been training for a while.
Mhm.
And this coach brought me in and was like, hey, I just need some help with my JV program. Can you help? And I said, sure. Started helping with the JV program, was doing well with that. So she said, hey, come over to my varsity practices and start doing this. Okay, sure, no problem. Well, those young ladies started to gravitate to me. One, I'm a black male. She had mostly black players. Had
Okay.
a
Yeah.
few
Okay.
other races sprinkled in there. So again, no problem. They all gravitated to me. So if I when I come to the game, they all come sit by me. They're
Mm.
all talking to me. She like, well, what's going on? Why are they doing this? So she thinks something is going on.
Mhm.
Nothing has happened. Nothing at all.
Just bonding because of similar cultures. Mhm.
But then that one player, I don't know if they were sent as a spy, as a narc, whatever it was to test me, she tested me. I mean, all that practice. Ooh, coach, you look so good. Ooh, coach, this. Ooh, and I'm like, why is she doing this? She ain't never acted like this. So, me being who I am, I go to the coach and say, hey, this player is saying some like inappropriate stuff. Like, I don't want to get in any kind of trouble, so I'm letting you know. Well, what did you say to her to make her do that? I'm like, wait
Mhm.
a minute. What do you mean? I'm coming to tell you, well, I see her hanging around you all the time, along with a couple of other girls, but I don't see you saying anything about them. I said, they have never done anything inappropriate.
Mm. The
I
optics of it
immediately
looks bad. Yeah.
I immediately said, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna come back anymore. I said, I'm just gonna remove myself away from this
Yeah.
situation. And she was like, well, I'm not saying you have to remove yourself. I just, I don't think it's a good look for those girls to be around you as much as they are. And I'm like, yep. I said, I'm still going to remove myself.
Mm.
The parents were upset because they're like, well, why did you leave? And I had to let them know, like, yeah, it was some inappropriate comments being made towards me. And they were like, oh, do we need to talk to those girls? I said, it doesn't matter at this point. I'm gone. And I didn't want to come back. And I knew right then high school was not the place for me.
Yeah. Because
Not
sometimes,
because
look, and what, and go ahead. I'm gonna let you go ahead finish that.
I mean, just not because that they were minors and things like that. It was because I felt like I wasn't taking, like the coach didn't have my back.
When supported in that area. Yeah.
And once I wasn't supported, I'm like, you know what? No, I gotta go.
Yeah.
But then also, the coach wasn't a sister either.
Okay. So it's a culture, still is a culture difference. The
And
same
so,
way there was a
yes,
cultural connection, there's also a cultural barrier. Mhm.
because okay, so you're good at what you do. You speak well. You can You
Mhm.
know how to connect people.
Mhm.
So when people gravitate to you, everybody in the room wants to know, well, you just got here. How does everybody gravitate to you so quickly?
Mhm.
It's you.
Mhm.
You're good at what you do. So that's why they gravitate to you, not because of anything inappropriate,
Right.
just because you're good at what you do.
Right.
That is not looked upon the same way when you're a coach sometimes.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you're good at what you do, it becomes a detriment to you. And other coaches that that you speak with, they know exactly what I mean. Because even coaching guys, you think, oh, well, I'm coaching guys. Man, can't nothing bad happen with this situation because I'm coaching the guys. They ain't gonna accuse me of no sexual misconduct and things like that.
Mhm.
Be alone with too many guys at one time, or having them over to your house, and man, anything happens, and then the next thing you know, here comes a rumor. Oh, I heard you was at coach house to such and such in the morning. I heard y'all. Nobody knows what happened, and it could be innocent things like y'all had dinner, y'all watched some film.
But the
It's
optics of it, what I've discovered in my adult life, sometimes the optics of something is basically all a person needs. Someone's optics or
Mhm.
their perception is reality. It doesn't matter that is not true. That's what it looks like. So that's what's perceived to be true. And I get what you're saying. No matter even if it was proven that you weren't doing anything inappropriate with any of the girls or anything, there will always be that seed of doubt from
Mhm.
parents or staff or the coach who wasn't supportive. There'll always be that seed of doubt of something improper between you and some other girls. And even though she was the one who crossed the the boundary, Lord Jesus,
Mhm.
the
That
one that
same
crossed
thing.
the boundary,
That same thing.
the line in the sand, even though she's the one who crossed over, it will always still be on you because you're in the position of authority. What did you do? Like she said, what did you do to encourage her? What did you say? How did you speak to her? And removing yourself from it was just the problem. Like you say, that was the way to get out because you already had foreshadowing of her saying, well, what did you say to her? Her perception was already built with that question. That
And
was
and
already
and that's why I gave you the backstory of like they gravitated to me immediately. But
yeah.
just because of that, she's looking like, well, what are you doing to these kids that they're all in your face and they're all here? And I'm
Yeah.
like, you think I would do something wrong with them? Why would you have me around these kids if
Right.
you think I'm gonna do? But again, and I don't, and sometimes I don't even think it was because of cultural difference. I just think it was because of
Jealousy.
that
Old
too.
fashioned jealousy.
Yes. So I've never worked for a male coach. Never. I've always had female African American female head coaches that I've
Well,
worked for. Not because I chose that, just because that's what was open at the time.
okay.
I've only worked with a few male coaches. Only a few. Those situations never, I ain't gonna say they were bad, but they were never great either. Working with them. And I think it has a lot to do with me, not
Okay.
them. And I say that because I'll go back to childhood. My stepfather was my dad. That's my pops.
Mhm. Mhm.
But my father, biological father, wasn't necessarily there.
Mhm.
So it was me and my mom. So my trust for with women were mostly what I had.
Mhm.
Even my female teachers, I had mostly female teachers. I didn't have a lot of male teachers. The few male teachers that I did have, they were leaders and they were strong, and they gave me that influence in how to be a leader.
Mhm.
But the female teachers are the ones who cared for me, who nurtured me, who got me to where I wanted to be.
Mhm.
So when a male coach, when I usually work with a male coach, it's a little different because one, they got to be the alpha male. That's number one. If they're Whether they're associate head coach, they got to be the alpha male. I don't really care. I'm not a person that cares about power. Like I don't. You can have all the power you want. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to be me. I came in the door looking for a job. I'll leave looking for a job. I don't care nothing about that part. Be who you are. You don't
Yeah.
have to flex your authority on me. But
Yeah.
some feel that they have to put their shoulders back and they're like, well, I'm just confident. Okay, call it what you want. You want you the alpha male, cool. No, you can have it. I
Hmm.
give it to you. But most female coaches, I don't bump heads with them. But there are a lot of guys when they become under the women head coaches leadership, what they tend to do is they'll act like I'm there to help you. Oh yeah, I'm just here to help. But really they want to take over.
Hmm.
I'm not that person. I
And
like being in the background. I
that
don't I
feeds
don't need
into
to be
my
up front.
theory that I've said multiple times on this podcast, even when talking about relationships, that men who often are around moms or aunts, or they have single moms and things like that, they tend to be more in tune to women. They tend to pick up on their cues. They've seen women, what women look like, disappointed and happy and sad and angry, and they are a bit more in tuned to women. So, like, and because I know you, how close you and your mom were, I know, like, yes,
Yeah.
that explains a lot why you're saying you work well under female authority, because your mama wasn't no, she ain't play.
No. No. If you
Because
want to say she
she
was the alpha
didn't
male, she
play.
was the alpha male.
She was an alpha female. Yeah, she spoke
She
her
gon'
mind.
flex.
She
Yes.
right. She spoke, and she was strong. She was a strong female. So you being able to migrate to navigate into a situation where you're under the authority of a female, that's not a problem to you, because
No.
you grew up under the authority of a strong female. So, like,
No.
you're right.
In corporate America, I've had probably maybe three or four um, male supervisors.
Okay.
I've only gotten along with one and a half. Okay, and I'll start with the half. Me and this guy start. I see. So I met this guy outside of work first.
Okay.
So being around somebody socially and being out doing other things is was different. So I got to see the outside person. So when we got to the job and he became the supervisor, again, I'm like, oh, I already know you, so it's no problem.
Hmm.
Well, when you start trying to be Joe's supervisor now, and now I know you're doing it for the corporate thing because you have to be that way,
Hmm.
but don't try to big bro me in corporate, and then when we get outside, I'm your boy. Like, no, you can't. You don't code switch on me. Don't code switch. Or now I'm in authority. I'm gonna take 2 hour lunches. I'm gonna do this. But then you questioning me in the meeting. Well, what time you supposed to be at work? Wait, what? So now again, and this is the younger self, the younger version of me. I'm gonna let you have it in a meeting because now I don't respect you anymore because I'm seeing how you are outside of work, and then I see what you do when you're at work, but then you questioning me in front of everybody. So that was my bad relationship with him. Outside of work, we were good. Inside of work, we were not. And I realized I can't work for you. Now, the
Hmm.
other male supervisor I had at first, I'm not gonna lie to you, I couldn't stand him. He got on, but he was a military person, former
Okay.
Marine.
Okay.
He was strict on stuff. I
Mm.
mean, but he gonna criticize you in public, but then again, he gonna give you the kudos.
Yeah.
I didn't understand him, but the longer I got to work with him, I realized how much he had my back.
Right.
And he's the one who pushed me to go to school to get my degree when I was like, yeah, I got my associate's degree, I'm done. He was
Mhm.
like, no, you going back to school.
Going.
And I was like, well, I'm at work full time. I'm gonna do that. He was like, I don't care. I'll give you the time off. You go to school, you come back to work, you make up the hours, whatever you got to do, but you're gonna get that degree. He
Mhm.
pushed me. So I got my degree.
Mhm.
So then when it came for my master's degree, he was like, hey, nah, we gonna find a way. So he found a way to get corporate to help pay for my degree, and he pushed it for me to get my degree. When it was time to get my house, He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make sure you got your down payment for your house." Like
Yeah.
he did, like
Right.
he showed me time and time again. But he also, when I had a roommate and I ain't had my own place, he was like, "Hey man, go get your own place. I don't
Hmm.
care if you got to be broke. You go get your own." Like so, I trust people when I know you got my back.
Yeah. That makes such a difference.
Same thing with coaching.
Ah, yeah.
I trust you when I know you got my back. When I don't feel like you have my back, I am out that door. I am leaving. I can't stick around. So imagine you're in corporate America and you're working and your supervisor just starts to code switch or change on you after having your back for so long. You gon' first thing you're thinking is, what did I do wrong? Why did they change? What made them start doing this? And it may not have anything to do with you.
Hmm.
Something that their boss has said to them, that they're too friendly with coworkers or they're too friendly with subordinates. So now they have to change and be different. But some of us aren't used to that switch, and it feels like abandonment when they do so.
I was always very deliberate, and I know if people who were under some of my subordinates, I was very deliberate who I could be around outside of work. I was always a fun boss. I like to think. Well, there's probably some couple of them that didn't feel that way, but overall, I felt like I was a fun boss. Some I could go out with. And they would say, "Oh, Alyssa, I would love to go out drinking with you. I bet you're a good time." And I'm like, not really. I'm really kind of quiet once I start drinking. So there were some who wanted to go and drink with me, and I was just like, "Nah, I don't trust you." But then there were others where, yeah, we doing them pickle bags too. Start here. We two here, two here.
Yeah.
And I
See,
was their boss, not even just their boss. I was their boss's boss. But it was a small circle who understood the code switch, because I was one of those code switchers. Because I once had a boss who was 2 levels above me, and he could code switch like that. But he, I respected him. I understood it was nothing personal. Like when we out drinking, we drinking. We're not discussing work. But when we work and they come in and say, "Okay, hey, Alyssa, I need you to do this," like, okay, no problem. So I learned from him how to be that way with some. And you're right. There are some who cannot handle the switch. And those were the ones who never saw me outside of my office because I knew, even just in a professional capacity, if they were bothered by me giving them a no on their approving their time off, yeah, you'll take me down. Like, I
yes.
was out with her and I know she was drinking. So I just had to keep that circle very, very small.
So when and just getting back to coaching, when you're coaching, even you and your head coach, or you and a group of coaches, y'all going out. Y'all go, oh man, we gonna let our hair down a little bit. We're gonna have a few drinks.
Can't with everybody.
So and again, you got to know your relationship. As a subordinate, you need to know what your relationship is and can you do this? Because again, you need to know yourself first. Can I handle my alcohol if I go out? Because if
Mhm.
I can't, and now my
Don't drink.
supervisor sees me, my supervisor's gonna have a whole bunch of different thoughts about me later.
Yes.
If I do handle it and my supervisor doesn't, am I gonna be the type of person that now that I'm gonna go snitch? Or am I gonna be the person that say, you know what? I'm gonna make sure I take care. I still got my supervisor's back. See, you gotta figure those things out way before you even go
Uh-huh.
outside of the job and do things.
Or if you do,
I
you just be safe for yourself and for your supervisor. You don't drink. You don't drink.
so depending on, for the most part, when I went on those things, corporate, whatever,
Hmm.
I never drank. I would drink water all night.
Well, hold
They
on.
like,
There's
oh,
some
you don't drink? I do, but I ain't today. Cause I'm like, no, y'all not about
yeah,
to.
that's not
Mm-mm.
my
Uh,
crowd,
you,
right? This is
you're
not
not
my
about to get me outside of my element. No.
exactly.
So my me and my head coach. So all my relationships with all of my head coaches are different. My
Mhm.
head coach at Clark, that was my girl. Like
Mhm.
we stand 10 toes down for each other.
Mhm.
So we made sure to always cover each other. I let her know what's going on when there were, things happening. She let me know what's going on. I think our last year before she got let go, things got a little bit, it got a little bad because one, we weren't having a good year. And again, when you're
Mhm,
not winning,
mhm.
everything
Everything
compiles
else
on
is
top of each other. So we weren't having a good year. She kept saying, Coach, this could be my last year if we don't get it together. And although we were trying,
yeah.
it seemed like things were kept sabotaging us to the point where this is the crazy thing. I worked with her, I
Mm.
left, I went to another university. I came back. The boss that I left ended up getting her job after she got let go.
Oh, wow.
So guess what that looks like? I sabotaged her to
Mhm.
get the former boss that I just left the job.
Yeah.
But guess what? I didn't get hired by my former boss for the new job that she just took.
Mhm.
I didn't get hired. Not because she didn't want to hire me, but because the athletic director didn't want me on her staff
Mhm.
because he felt like, well, the fruit of the tree is already poison. I don't want to bring more poison to a new staff
I get it. I
but
get it.
I'm the person that she trusted. So she like, well, this is my guy. I trust him more than I do anybody. I had to repair a friendship that was about to be lost because she thought that I had her job taken.
Yeah.
So just imagine you making,
Optics.
75 to $100,000 a year, and now you ain't got a job.
Right.
And the person that you trusted the most then got their friend the job, or as you think
And so
that
the
happened.
optics, how it looks. The optics of it. That's how it looks. Mhm.
And so it made me really think about whether or not I wanted to coach again after that.
I could. Yeah.
Because it became a trust thing for me. And I'm like, wow, if she thinks that I'm this kind of person, then what am I displaying out here? And I know that I didn't do anything wrong.
Mhm.
And then later she was like, well, dang, I thought you were going to be the assistant. And I said, no, I didn't get the job. But I repaired the friendship.
Good.
Now I stopped coaching,
I
but I
know.
stopped coaching because of these situations that these coaches are going through. That's
Mm.
one reason. But also, I started losing love, not for the game,
I know what you're
but for
saying.
all of the things that I had to do.
Yeah.
But people don't even know how I even started coaching to begin with.
Mhm.
Coaching, like I said, I started coaching women's basketball in 2007. But really, my coaching began when I was in at Weber Junior High.
Ooh. I'm
I
the
was the man.
wildcat.
I was the manager of the seventh grade team, the eighth grade team, and the ninth grade girls basketball team. I would sit there with the coaches and I would go over the plays because I played basketball. And after I would do that, I would spend time with the girls after practice as the manager, teaching them certain moves, teaching them how to use screens, like do certain things with basketball. And so that teaching for me began way back then. It just so happened I didn't recreate that passion about doing it until I became an adult.
Mm.
And then I was like, man, you know what? I miss basketball. I want to coach.
Mm.
I want to coach women's basketball because I had tried coaching men's and I just like the guys didn't listen because they didn't think,
Mhm.
when you're
Mhm.
younger, you know everything. The adult doesn't know anything.
Mhm. Mhm.
And even when I would prove to them when I knew stuff, they didn't want to listen. And so I was like, yeah, let me go over to the women's side. And so that's how I started coaching women's basketball. And so my love and passion became then, and then the WNBA was going on, and I
Mhm.
wanted to be a part of that. And so it was all of those things that got me to coaching women's basketball. And my love for the game has always been there. But my passion for women's sports has always been tremendous. And so anything with women's sports, whether it was volleyball, tennis, I was
Mhm.
always there representing. And so um it that's became the biggest thing for me, and that's why I still have love for it. But I can't say that I want to go back and do it
I
again though.
understand. That's how I feel about being a high school teacher. I loved being a teacher,
Hmm.
and I lost a little bit of the passion for it. And as a teacher, I just truly believe wholeheartedly you have to be 100% in at all
Yeah,
times. And
you do.
I didn't just lose all of it. I dropped down to about 95% of my passion. And I felt that's unfair to children who are trying to be educated to have a teacher who's not 100% in 100% of the time. And I decided not to go back into it. And it was funny is on social media I'm still friends with some of my students. But they're adults now. So they're young
Right.
adults in their 30s. Like, geez, they're in their 30s now. But I get what you're saying. If your passion is not 100% in, where you're all your heart and your soul, if it depletes a little bit, you recognize you're doing a disservice to those that you're supposed to service. So I totally, totally get it. Before we wrap up, I
Hmm.
gotta mention that tree. That tree is gorgeous. Now I follow your wife on TikTok, and I think like, what? I can't imagine what it's like being in a house, and she does it, and I look at the videos. But to have it in your house, like, here's my question: are you amazed by the tree, or you just looking like that's your tree?
No, it's
That's
amazing
your
when I
tree.
when I
Okay.
see her work
Yes.
because this is her heart. Like she puts a lot of thought into how she's gonna do a tree.
Yeah.
Like this tree may be like this year. Most people be like, oh, well, I'm gonna put the same thing up next year.
Me.
Yeah, right. Like she may do just say she did it again next year. The following year, this tree is gonna be totally different.
Mm.
She will take all this stuff down and redo a whole nother tree and she'll go get the decor. But that's the thing, the whole area of the core has to match what that tree looks like. So from the garland to the stockings to the candles, like everything is going to match that tree. Like
Wow.
she is detailed to the T.
It's
And
beautiful.
if you follow her, and that's 10th underscore walnut on Instagram, you will see like all of the trees that she's done, and she put so much passion into each tree that her clients get their own specialized tree. It's not like, oh, she's gonna make every tree the same.
Right.
Mm-mm. She
Oh,
has, and that's the thing. Like even work, like so sometimes I'll work with her. I'll go when she does an install, and people like, wait, you know how to decorate the tree? I don't do the decorating, but I do what they call fluffing the tree. I make sure the limbs are fluffed out and prepped and ready to go. So when she gets to put the ornaments on there, they're there and ready to go. And when I do that, and I see her, taking her time, like sometimes I'll never forget. We went to one client's house. She took a whole set of ornaments and things, and she put them on the tree, and she didn't like it. She was like, "I don't like this." And so the client was like, "Oh, they look nice." And she was like, "Okay, let me show you something." She took
oh,
them. She took some. She took half of them down and put some other ones up. And the guy was like, "I love it. I love
yeah.
that. Why did you change it?" And she was like, "This is." She said, "When I'm looking at your decor, this matches better and this fits better." And he was like, "Absolutely, go with that."
Mhm.
She took all that stuff down, went and reshopped and bought the stuff and made an amazing tree.
Truly
That's
spectacular.
that's the type of passion you're gonna get. I just yeah,
Right.
it's amazing to see her mind work and how she puts it together. That's a talent that you know she has. That sometimes I wish I had talent like that to be
That's what
the
I
the
say.
the the decorator, but
Yeah.
that is definitely a great talent.
Because I look at, like I said, she comes to my timeline on my TikTok and it's like, wow. And even before I realize it's her, I'm looking at the decorations and the decor and how it's put together and the before and the after. And then I'm like, oh my God. It's like a Hallmark card. Who
Hmm.
does this? Then I look like, oh, okay, yeah. And I think I started seeing him late summer, early fall, where it started coming through my algorithm, and I'm like, holy smoke. So, I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at that tree. Like, that's outstanding. That's
Thank you,
incredible. That's why I'm
thank you.
wondering, like, are you amazed when you walk into your home and you see your tree? Like, wow, That's a beautiful tree. Do you go like, "Oh, that's our tree in our house. It's, that's our
No,
tree."
yeah, it you can be nonchalant when you walk in because it's like, because I look and I'll be like, whoa, like
Mhm,
man, how did you? Because I think I even asked her, I said, how did you even come up with this color concept? And
mhm,
so she was like, what you mean? Like, and I'm like, no, it's great. Like the way
mm,
you just put all these colors I said, I would have never put these
mhm,
colors together. Like that's not, I said, I would have done something totally different. Cause
mhm,
you see a tree at the store. Ooh, I want that. That's what I'm gonna do my tree. And
mhm,
that's what you typically do.
mhm.
No, she
No,
will take that tree and be like, oh, I can flip that and do this with the tree. And then the next thing you know, she's done something totally different. And I'm like, wow, okay,
it
you
is
took
truly a gift from God.
she will literally write stuff down on paper, or she'll just sit there and think about it and overnight come up with the whole concept and go buy the stuff, find everything she needs and come home and start doing it. And then like she'll take this tree, she may see, oh, I'm missing one little piece, and she'll add a splash of different color in there, and then it'll sparkle or it'll pop to make the tree pop even more. And I'm
Totally
like,
different.
why did you even do that? Like, oh, I felt like it was missing something. But
Mhm.
that's the artist in her.
It is.
Yeah,
It
so
is.
I let her, enjoy her passion.
So before we close out, I know you're on hiatus now from your podcast. I know you
Hmm.
and I talked to Shay. Shay was my I did Shay interview with Shay a couple weeks ago.
Hmm.
A couple weeks ago, a couple episodes ago. And I know she's also on hiatus. I think, I mean, plus it's end of the year. So I get people on hiatus of their podcast. I'm the only one that's been kind of on hiatus throughout the year and then now picking up speed. But when do you want to get back into it? And
Um, I said that I was gonna look at the first of the year, and because
okay.
I think at one point I was trying to do a weekly episode, like every
It's
week, but that's so
I
much
have the
pressure on
time.
yourself to do,
It
and then you
is.
have to find the quiet space and the time, and that's where I think I was falling short because, and then
Mhm,
topics. I kept thinking of so many different things, but then I was like, well, how do you make it go from one episode, like a series? You know what I mean? Because you go to church and your pastor be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start the series off with this.
mhm.
But I'm like, that has to come to you.
Yeah.
Again, I can be a sports guy. I can be I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed therapist. But I could talk about love and relationships type of
Yeah.
deal. But I always wanted to just focus on whatever I wanted to focus on. And
Mhm,
so some days that's hard because I get passionate about whatever I'm going to talk about.
mhm.
And then two, making sure that I'm in the right headspace for what I want
Yes.
to do.
Mhm,
Because if you go in with, you're angry about something, it's going to display in your voice. It's going to come out. If you're sad about something, it's going to come out. And you have to be in the right space to, one, present your thing.
I'm looking at
And,
myself. Mhm.
sort of like I thought about doing a name change because, Straight Gangsta Mac really it came from and I'll end it kind of here with this. Straight Gangsta Mac came from a place where most people be like, why would you name a podcast that? And I was like, well, this girl used to always tell me in school, like especially at middle school, junior high, oh, you ugly bumpy faced boy, and you don't know girls like you, this and this. So I would listen to Humpty Hump a lot, and he would say, I'm sick with this Straight Gangsta
Against the
Mac.
back.
And
Mhm,
so he was like, and he would say too, they say I'm ugly, but it just don't phase me. So
mhm.
that whole song meant so much to me. And I was like, man, I'm sick with this. Because I know I'm good with a microphone. You put a microphone and a camera in front of me, watch me work. I
Mhm.
can do it. So that's where the Straight Gangsta Mac thing came from. But I thought about a name change because I was like, see, people when you hear gangster, you think, oh, this bad, this stuff,
Yeah.
but that's not it at all.
Right. And
But
I
then
just
every
did my episode about, the last episode I did about why I didn't change the name and where people were saying like, oh, like I said, it was some messages sent to family members who passed them along to me about, oh, that shouldn't be a name. She was a pastor's daughter or, you're a Christian, you do that. Like I said, I got your messages You don't have to listen. Just keep scrolling. But for the cautionary tales that I tell, and the things that I went through and where I was at that moment, and sometimes still is. This is the name, Dick and Conversation, because the running theme throughout all of what I do with every episode is still always just to empower women, sometimes educate men. Make sure you're good. Make sure you're good, and not to incorporate someone else's life into yours to where if they leave you, you're taking a major loss.
Right.
So that's
Right.
just all my thing. You only if they leave you, all you lost was dick and conversation, which is still just the underlying theme of take care of yourself, make sure you're stable.
Right.
That's it. But some of the stuff I've
Right.
done, it's like But
Right.
I hear you watching the game too. Me too.
Oh no, I listen. It's on. I'm not watching it though. I actually,
I'm catching
I
a
said
little.
I was gonna lock in, and I wanted to focus
We
on our
locked.
conversation,
I hear you. We
and I
locked.
did not want to let the game distract me. So it's over here in the background, but I turned the
I'm
sound. I put
watching.
it on mute, so I
Me
won't
too.
be distracted from it because I had got locked in, but no, I said
Me
I wanted to
too.
lock in, but
Me too.
I
I
am glad.
appreciate
I
it.
would love to do another episode
I
with
do
you.
too, because you and I have talked about just, the ups and downs and pressures that aren't spoken on, that aren't spoken by black men. So I wanted to touch on that with you, just you and I on this again. But this one I want to touch on this topic.
Absolutely. I mean, this is definitely something hot. I
Yeah.
and I hope anybody who wants to be a coach not doesn't get discouraged by things that they see in the media and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You just know that your family and your livelihood is always, something that you
Yes.
have to protect, and knowing that will help you to set the boundaries there.
That's right.
And I mean, even when you get weak, you have to pray and ask God to give you
Ooh,
that
what you
that
say?
protection, because I'm telling
What
you
you say?
that those temptations will happen. They will come to your door, and as long as
Mm.
you don't open the door, you quite okay.
My pastor preached that last week. Temptation comes in through a door that is intentionally left open, but God will always provide an escape. Come on,
Absolutely.
Pastor Josh, Motor City Church, Detroit, Michigan. So that's it. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, I just want everybody to understand. Dick and Conversation podcast will keep going. Whether y'all listen or not, it's gonna keep going. But
Yes, it
we
will.
encourage y'all to keep listening, keep supporting, because it is here. All right, y'all keep doing
thank,
that. And
thank you,
shout out to my
God.
boy Andre Thomas at Layup, man. He always gives me the fresh gear.
I've
And
seen that.
oh yeah, man, fresh gear, man. I appreciate them. And they don't give me things. I purchase them. So just so y'all know, I do purchase my stuff. But hey, it's fresh gear. Layup.com. Check them out.
Did he have a children's line? Because a friend of mine, her children, when her
Hmm.
son, when they were a little younger, they were modeling layup, and I was like, "Oh, that's cute." So now to see you in there, like, is he from Michigan?
Yes. Yeah, it's from Saginaw.
Okay,
Hmm.
it was okay. That makes sense. All right,
Yep.
got
Yeah,
it, got it.
they're out in Vegas right. They are in Vegas right now.
She's in
They
Vegas.
right.
My friend
So
that I'm thinking of, she lives in Vegas.
yep. So they had a pop up shop in Saginaw. They had one here in Atlanta, and then I think they just did one in Vegas, and then they'll be doing some more.
Okay.
But again, if you're from Saginaw, I try to support. Make sure I support my
Yeah.
people and what you're doing if it's positive, and I so I try to stick with it. But man, y'all keep listening to this Dick and Conversation podcast, man, because I'm
Thank you,
telling you, we
guys.
got some more topics coming. I know she
Yes,
does.
Lord. I do. I'm getting back in. I'm getting back into the grind of it because I'm starting to enjoy it once again.
That's
Life
good.
interrupted it, but it's better. So thank you. I wanted to truly, truly, truly thank my cousin, Coach J Mack, for giving details and information I didn't know. I had no clue about, some of the things that happened with the conduct and things like that. But
Mhm.
once again, thank you for listening to
You're
me on the
welcome.
Dick and Conversation podcast. I'm Elissa. You've been listening to me or watching me on Amazon, iHeart, Pandora, Spotify, or YouTube. My social media is Dick and Conversation Podcast page, Facebook. My social media is also Dick and Conversation Podcast channel on YouTube. You can see me on Instagram, Dick and Conversation underscore podcast, and on Blue Sky, because I'm not on X. Blue Sky, Dick and Convo.bsky.social, and you can always email me at dickandconvo@gmail.com. Once again, thank you. Thank you,
You're
cuz.
welcome.